Well, a lot of Yankee fans in our area, and certainly with Yankee baseball, spring training in full swing, and who wouldn't dream of getting a chance to go down and play at Steinbrenner Field? Yankees with some of the greats on hand. We are joined by Town Square Media's Drew Weisholtz. And Drew, you had a chance back in the offseason to do what many people dream of, certainly in New York State, that is get a chance to go down and play in the fantasy camp with the Yankees. Talk about that. It had to be a great time.
It was an amazing time. It's as good as you think it is. Whatever adjective you can use to describe amazing or remarkable, it supersedes all of them. It was a dream come true for the kid and the adult in me. It's fantastic.
You've been a Yankee fan, what, since birth pretty much?
Yeah, absolutely. I just turned 40, which is the reason my wife surprised me with this as a gift. But yeah, I've been a fan as far back as I can remember.
A lot of people, of course, follow the Yankees in our area, but few ever get a chance to actually walk on the field in Tampa. Few get a chance to hang with some of the greats of the Yankees in the past. One of the neat things about a camp like this is that you actually get a chance to participate with coaches like Oscar Gamble and some of these guys that played, and talk about those experiences and how they treated the campers.
You rub elbows with them just like you would with one of your own friends. And it's an interesting dynamic because as a fan, you're always removed, and you're in the stands or you're watching television. Well, in this environment, you're sitting next to them in the locker room or at the dinner table, and it's just free range to ask whatever you want to ask or talk to them about whatever you want to talk about. So from that perspective, it's fantastic because I remember as a kid, Oscar Gamble had the huge afro. So it was a wonderful experience to be able to make fun of him for having a huge afro in the 70s and, things like that. And to talk to Jesse Barfield about what it was like to be a minor leaguer in the Blue Jays system back in the late 70s as well. Things like that I've always wanted to ask players about. And I asked Charlie Hayes about what happened to the ball from the 96 World Series that he caught to clinch the series. When do you get those opportunities as a fan?
Sure.
You never do.
Absolutely.
And in this environment, you get that chance.
Yes. It's fun to reminisce. And one of the neat things, too, could you imagine being a player and then coming back and getting to do things like this? It would just be like a great reunion for them, too. So I'm sure they have a ball. But the relaxed way, now the career's over, they can talk to fans like yourself who are taking part in the camp. And it's got to be a whole lot of fun for them as well. I'm sure you could sense that they were having as much fun as you guys were.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they all will tell you that as well during the course of the week because I'm sure they're inundated with the same questions and the same requests for autographs over and over. But that's part of what draws them there, I'm sure, is the fun of interacting with fans and reliving their own great memories and that camaraderie that they had in their playing days. And it's fun to see that. And one thing that was very interesting was one day during lunch, I was just sitting there, and who walks in but Lou Whitaker from the Detroit Tigers. And he has no connection to the Yankees, but the Tigers camp is not very far. And, all these guys know each other from playing year in, year out. And he walks in, he just starts schmoozing with Chris Chambliss, and it's just kind of, I was awestruck just watching that. But that kind of hammers home that point of reliving their days and seeing their old friends from playing and their old, nemesis from those days as well.
Drew Weisholtz joining us from Town Square Media. And Drew, if there was any favorite Yankee of the time you had a chance to spend that week in Tampa, who would you say it would be? Or maybe the top couple of guys that you had a chance to hang with and swap stories with?
I'm going to go with Oscar Gamble and El Duque. They were both my coaches for my team, so I interacted with them quite a bit. And Oscar Gamble is a fantastic guy, a good storyteller, very laid back, very fun, and he was just thrilled to be there. As he told me, he's like, I love when I get recognized. So he enjoyed the moment. And El Duque, very hard to talk to because he doesn't speak great English, but a great sense of humor. Actually, a very fun guy to be around. He really enjoyed it. He made sure to take us into the batting cages because our team was not hitting well for the first few days. So he takes in there and tries to give you some tips. So those are the guys I dealt with the most, and they were very friendly, very nice, and part of what made the experience so wonderful.
Now, did some of the guys actually interact with you and play on various teams in the camp too, or were they all just instructors?
Well, sometimes they'll go and pitch on occasion. That happens every once in a while. There's also the Legends game where you will play a 2-inning abbreviated game with the legends. So a lot of those guys will take the field. When I played, Mike Torres pitched, and then Tom Gordon came on in the 2nd inning. Tom Gordon could still throw, by the way. He was not messing around up there. I didn't face him, and I'm actually kind of glad I didn't.
That's the thing. A lot of the guys that played pro, they try, but when the competition starts, the old competitive juices start to flow again, and all of a sudden they're right back at it. So it sounds like he still had his game on, ready to go at it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And a couple of the guys are still pretty young. Marcus Timms and Homer Bush. These guys are, they're late 30s, early 40s. They still got some game in them, no question about it.
What was it like for you to actually go on Steinbrenner Field that first time and take a look? And then in that game that you played in also, right? They put you up on the big video board, right?
Yeah, they when you play the Legends, they will put your picture and your name on the scoreboard, just like they would at Yankee Stadium or any baseball stadium. And that's surreal. Is that the word to use? I'm not sure. It's awe-inspiring, and it's one of those moments where it's almost cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. You feel like you're 12 years old again, and you're fantasizing about that moment where you're a professional baseball player, and you try to soak it in. And one thing I truly did intentionally was I took a lot of pitches in that because I wanted my name to be on the scoreboard for a while.
Sure. And you actually pitched in that game too, didn't you?
I did. I haven't pitched in well over 20 years. And earlier in the week, my teammates said, if you want to go out and pitch, go for it. And I don't pitch fast, but I've always had good aim, which in this environment is perfect. So I pitched earlier in the week, and then in the Legends game, I pitched, and I got out relatively unscathed. I gave up 1 unearned run, and it was just remarkable. Again, I don't know how to actually articulate how awesome an experience it is to be up there and throwing to Jim Leyritz and Bucky Dent and Jesse Barfield. It's just an awe-inspiring feeling.
Yeah, people talk about living the dream. You actually did for a week with the Yankees Fantasy Camp. Hey, one final thing before we close. How are the Yanks going to do this year?
I personally am a little worried about them. I don't know if that starting pitching is going to hold up. With Tanaka and coming off the surgery, and what are you going to get from Pineda and Nova? A lot of question marks. I think the defense will be good, and I think the bullpen is going to be good as well. But if that starting pitching can hold up, I think you've got a pretty good team.
All right, there you go. Drew Weisholtz, thank you very much from Town Square Media, and experience that I'm sure is that of a lifetime, a chance to be at the Yankees Fantasy Camp and kind of relive some of those younger days and hang with some of the big dogs. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.